Hello and welcome, and indeed welcome to my car. Now, my original idea with this video was that it was going to be recorded out and about in the wonderful British countryside with me sitting surrounded by crops or trees, but a few things have happened to make me change my mind in the past hour or so. Number one is upsetting farmers and trespassing. Number two is, with my technical ability and with the camera that I've got, it's actually really difficult to set something up outside where you can see me and hear me properly without other things getting in the way. And number three is hay fever. I'm doing this the second week of May, and just being outside, I was starting to stream everywhere and couldn't breathe properly. So at least by me sitting here, you are going to hear what I'm saying, and we're not going to be interrupted by me sneezing or my eyes going bright red. So this is a new thing for me because the Daylight Midnight Show has never been recorded outside or in a location other than a studio. And I mean, I suppose I'm getting away with it because this isn't really an episode of the Daylight Midnight Show. This is just me talking about the fact that the Daylight Midnight Show is sort of for definite coming back. So there's a bit of an aspect of if you build it, they will come kind of thing here, where I've been thinking about it for a couple of weeks and putting it off and deciding, well, I'll do it on the 1st of May. I tell you what, I'll do it on the 1st of June. Whereas I thought if I record this now as an impromptu video and upload it, I've kind of challenged myself to get on with it, and then I will have to make the commitment and start writing the show again, ready for episode 1, which would be next week. So why am I thinking about doing this now? Well, I suppose, to be honest, in the 6-7 weeks since I last recorded, since we ended series 4 of the Daylight Midnight Show, I've realised that actually it's fun to do, but also it helps me with other work that I do. Because I work in the creative industry, just having this show to do every week kind of keeps parts of my brain firing that otherwise wouldn't be firing, and that helps me when I have to do other work. I hope I'm explaining that in a way that you understand. So because I had to do this show and get it uploaded for every Friday, I would be having little ideas for it during the week, and I would always commit to recording it on the Friday morning, so I'd put the whole thing together on a Thursday. And because I was doing that every week, earlier in the week, when I was having to work on other stuff, those muscles in my brain were already working, those neurons were firing, and so a lot of ideas were falling into place, and I could have 7 or 8 ideas for a particular project, reject 6 of them, 1 of them would be usable. Whereas what's happened in the weeks since I last recorded this show is that I've struggled a bit to find those other ideas. And I think it is just that muscle is not being worked. If you're a footballer and you haven't passed the ball for 3 months, you're not going to pass the ball to someone perfectly straight away. Whereas if you're practicing every day, those passes are always going to get... It's a really weird way of putting it, but I think it's the same sort of thing. So for me, that is my football. This is my sort of midfield passing triangles, is just doing this show every week. And also I need to follow my own advice a little bit, because I go around and I do talks about the work that I do and the work that I've done. And I do a lot of stuff with young people as well who want to get into some kind of creative industry. And they always ask me, how do you get started? And I always say nowadays, just do it. Because you've got the opportunity to just do it. When I was a young lad growing up in the 1930s, if you wanted to get into television or radio, you couldn't. You either had to volunteer somewhere and get a bit of experience, or you had to just try and get a foot in the door somewhere with a production company or a station or a studio and work for nothing to get a name for yourself. Or you had to buy a load of expensive equipment that you could install at home. Whereas, as I say to people now, anyone can do it. We all have phones. All those phones have very decent cameras. They're very good quality. You can download free editing software. There are how-to videos all over the place. There are people you can turn to for advice. And YouTube is free to upload to. So if you want to have a go at doing YouTube stuff, you can just do it. And like I always say to people, it doesn't matter if only 6 people watch it. The point is you've done it. You're exercising those muscles. You're getting that part of your brain working. You're having a go at it. You're going to learn every time you do it. And you might not be proud of what you've done, in which case, don't upload it. But if you do upload it and you only get a few views or you get a couple of nasty comments, it doesn't matter. The point is you've done it. You've created something that didn't exist before you created it. And you've given yourself a little bit of experience. And that's what I tell other people. So I think, why have I stopped doing that myself? So the Daylight Midnight Show is going to come back. What kind of content, if it's going to, I hate to use that word, what's it going to have? I don't know. I've been thinking about that this week. And as I said, because I haven't been thinking about it weekly, the ideas haven't been firing. And I don't really just want to retread old ground. But I like the idea that when I remember doing the first series in series 1, I just started doing them and the series kind of evolved after I started it. So I'm quite I like the idea of doing that again. Let's just start series 5 and see what happens and see what falls into place. I would like to do more of this kind of stuff, go out and about, meet some people, take on some challenges, do some stuff out and about that I can then edit and include in the show. I've got a couple of ideas for specific things for that, but they might be sort of different series of videos rather than being part of the Daylight Midnight Show. I'm not trying to be deliberately vague. I'm still forming those ideas, so I'll get back to you on those. But I have written a few ideas down of stuff that I will do. And if these aren't ideas that end up being on the show, at least it gives you an insight into the way my mind works, for those of you that haven't watched the show before. So I've written down here 200-word song plans. I'm coming up very close on 100 videos on YouTube, which is amazing to me. And some of them are private videos that I've done for specific clients or specific people, but most of them anyone can watch. And I think for 50, 100 and 150, I did something special or unique. So I'd like to do that again. And what I've come up with is I'm going to do my 200th video is going to be a song that is exactly 200 seconds long and has exactly 200 words in it. So I'm working on that at the moment, and I need to get on with it because that's going to come up in the next few weeks. What was the best year for movies? Something I thought about while I was on a long drive the other day. I suddenly thought of 4 or 5 really good films that were all made in the year 1967. And I thought to myself, has there ever been a better year for movies than 1967 for the sheer scope and quality of what was produced? So I'm going to look into that and do some proper research on that and do a video about that. I've written down here Rubik's Cube Challenge. Again, this is evidence of how my brain works and the kind of mistakes I can make. I had an idea about solving a Rubik's Cube, but not solving it in the way you should, solving it with a different pattern. And I started working out the maths involved based on the different colours and the different number of faces on a Rubik's Cube. And then I started thinking about people I could contact who are really good with maths, who could take this challenge up. And maybe someone could design a computer program that would teach you how to do it. And then after about 2 days of working on this, I realised that I'd got my maths completely wrong, because a Rubik's Cube has 6 faces, so there are 6 different colours of cubes, but each face has 9 squares on it, and I'd got that the wrong way round. So my whole plan was based on completely incorrect maths. So that was 2 days gone on a project that's never going to see the light of day because I'd got it wrong from part 1. You see, if you don't do this stuff on your own, someone else will point this stuff out to you. And the other thing I've written down here, because you see, this again is why I'm going to do the show again, because when I can just say this stuff to you, it gets it out of my head and I don't have to think about it. When something like this troubles me and I don't share it with anyone, it'll go round and round in my head and I'll go off all over the place with it. So I've written down the words boing, doing and going, because they are all words in the English language. You only change the first letter to make them different words, but they sound completely different. And I started thinking about how silly the English language is, and are there any other words that are like that? And off I went again with my brain going off in a strange direction. I've said it to you now, so it's got it out of my head, and I don't have to think about it anymore. So that is the kind of stuff that you can expect as we move onwards and upwards into Series 5. And I've set myself the challenge now, and I have to do it. And my idea was for this video to be about 3 minutes long, and I bet we've already gone over 10 minutes. But that's it. We've started. We're coming back. I will see you next week. Have a great 7 days.